Log Talk Radio.
This thing right here is for my peoples in the streets.
Yes, today.
Log Talk Radio.
We're about to go into the Cipher, y'all. And in the Cipher, this is where we start to we got a single topic we're going to unpack, we're going to talk about, and hey, nothing better than the NFL draft. And as we said, in higher education right now, the trend in higher education right now with the grading system is you get, they're doing the credit, no credit, which I understand. You can't change instruction in the middle of the semester. And, to accommodate everything that's going on, to respect the things that the students are going through, but also what the faculty and staff are going through. You got to create a learning environment that's going to be the most productive environment. And so most of the folks have found creative ways to do credit, no credit. However, the NFL, not for long league, with RSG, we holding y'all to the standard. Because y'all got all that money, we hold y'all to the standard. So we're going to grade y'all. But the one thing I will say is positive before we get into the grading thing is that they had the 15.6 million viewers, I think, for the draft. That's amazing. When you think about everybody's working about the logistics, everything else, I really thought, given the scenario situation, I thought they did an excellent job with this draft. I thought I enjoyed the flow. Yeah, you didn't have the big crowd you would have had in Vegas, but there were so many much more individual stories being played out. I thought the NFL Network, ESPN, ABC, all of them did a really good job with this telecast. I thought Goodell, I thought we saw him inside of him in ways that he often isn't seen. I was cracking up when he was up there, had the candy right there. I still got the candy going. He was down there lounging in his chair, changed into a T-shirt. But I think that was good. The kids who were involved with the coaches and the GMs and as well. So you got to see the family atmosphere of it. I thought it was a really good thing. Yeah, overall, just your overall opinion of the NFL kind of draft experience before we get into the grading aspect. Hammer, what do you think about? What were you thinking before, and how were you surprised with how well it went off?
No, I'm not. The NFL knows how to put on a show, regardless of the restrictions. So, I was impressed with how they presented, and I love the fact that they really humanized someone who's a villain in sports, which is Roger Goodell. But I think the main thing is that the intimacy of being part of the process and actually being part behind the scenes, I think really resonated with the public, especially now, and really was for the times as far as, being in quarantine and being kind of limited, but feeling empowered of doing things in that space. And so that's what the NFL really projected. The only thing I would say that I was be critical of is that, again, every brother doesn't have to have their bad business come up in the bio. I thought that was not cool as far as it goes, especially with Jordan Love and his dad committing suicide because of my understanding improper blood pressure medication. So I just thought that this is the time of their lives. We're in a pandemic. Let's celebrate these brothers. Let's not everything doesn't have to be overcoming some type of tragedy. And so that's the only thing I would say. But as far as, Cliff Kingsbury's crib and, Henry Ruggs in the bathrobe, and my man CeeDee Lamb putting his lady in check with the phone, that
went viral, man.
Yeah, that went viral. And it was just a great show by Roger Goodell. And the fact also they were able to put intimacy in the home. And I think it's going to change even when we get back to, the normal. I think you're going to see sort of a hybrid of what happened Thursday and throughout Saturday compared to the past, because people are going to want to see that and be in the home and really feel it. They made you feel you were there. You were like in Tua's crib, You were in Joe Burrow's crib. You were in the yacht of Jerry Jones. You could really project yourself there. And so it made you feel as if you were really part of the process. Then kind of the pomp and circumstances they had in Vegas, where it would have been crazy, but it was a different type of effectiveness as far as making the fan feel part of the product.
And Jerry being in the yacht is ballish as all can be. I'm like, man, I've never seen an organization that has not succeeded at all, really. I mean, be truthful, Dallas. But from a business standpoint, Jerry is always in the center. I love that. The Cliff Kingsbury, well, goodness. I didn't know about his coaching, but he got a good realtor out there. Man, goodness, that was it. But you also got to see the different circumstances these young people live in. From the home, you saw some folks in tight quarters and what you need to do and just the emotion that it don't matter where you're from, but this that emotion and that connectedness with your family and those people around you and who, how much this means to everyone. Those stories are coming out. And I do agree, some things were best at this time left not being explored and it could have been something, but I thought overall they did a really good job. Darnell, how do you feel just overall?
I hated it. ESPN made me sick. Man, I was watching it, and I saw some things like that when they, especially, I agree with you guys when you say that a lot of things should not be said, and I feel like they go and fish for these stories with these guys, like especially the brothers, like But what I really hated was seeing T. Higgins. They said they wrote on there that his mother had been addicted to drugs for 16 years. Like you don't have to say stuff like that, man. Yeah. They always portray the negatives on these kind of shows. Like and with Donovan Peoples-Jones, they showed a picture of him and said of him with a Michigan State coach and with a Michigan State shirt on and stuff, and said that was his dad. When that was just it was a regular Michigan State coach. And it was like, this is Don Peoples-Jones' dad. And I was like, bro, what? Man, it came to the point I was just reading I was checking my NFL app every now and again to see who got picked by what team. I couldn't watch ESPN.
Wow. So this is interesting. Did that happen last year? I think that happens every year. Right?
Yeah. No, it was more accentuated this year because
you don't have the environment.
Yeah, because you weren't distracted by the fans and all the uproar that happens. Just the energy. You actually were focused on, and so it did accentuate. I agree. The T. Higgins thing was disgrace. You don't need to put his mom. I think his mom recovered, and that's great. I'd rather have that. She recovered than how about she was a drug addict. She was a crackhead for 16 years. Yeah, so. They're trying to bring up drama and make it like a soap opera. And so I thought it's a lack of cultural competency to have these brothers in the native light like that, especially during a time where, with COVID, the racial disparities as far as who were affected by COVID, I thought it's a bad look. So I give it the grade of that. I give it a, A- because of those things.
So the story part, it's interesting because some of these athletes say that's what drives them. So I know, there's a number of stories where that is why they get after it every day. And so should they not talk about that story or should they not get into it? And I didn't see the T. Higgins one because I think I thought, but I know in a couple stories I saw that was what was the driving factor for these young men doing the way they're doing to get out of those circumstances or seeing their parent recovering in a way. And that's the day-to-day drive. So I don't know what I didn't get a chance to see the video on T. Higgins, but I know that that's part of the story for some of these men's journey. And so, is that not to be told if that's something that they embrace and they tell themselves?
No, I mean, like Akuda is a perfect example. That was done right because his mother passed away when he was on campus. He was a backup at the time and really catalyzed his career and put dog in him, so to speak, as we say in the hood. But, yeah, like I said, it depends on the circumstance as far as how they're presenting overcoming the odds. But just putting the Jordan Love thing was foul in the sense that the family itself said they didn't – and a lot of people were saying they didn't know why his dad committed suicide. So ESPN clearly had a reporter who dug in and found out sensitive data about or sensitive facts.
Yeah, that's always happening to bombs.
Yeah, because that was not even public knowledge before. It was really, if you read everything about Jordan Love, it was people didn't know why his dad committed suicide at all. And then to hear that it was because of blood pressure medication, you're just like, wow, why would you put him on it like that? And then bad enough, the brother is not going to be welcome in the state of Wisconsin. Well, he's not going to, trust me. I mean, people are I think I got 5,000 Facebook friends, and I'm from Wisconsin, and it was a visceral reaction to Jordan Love and the whole draft, but we'll get into that. But but I thought that was just not cool as far as.
Well, I definitely appreciate your perspective on unpacking that. Those are some important things to be thinking about in terms of the cultural competency aspect of this, which continues to be an issue for the NFL. In terms of having the right understanding about how to engage these kinds of conversations. I think the NBA can be much more farther ahead. I think it's also on the back of the NFL in terms of its combine and some of the things that come out, some of the questions that GMs and other people have asked that continue to racialize that context. But I would say the overall production, because I don't know if this thing's going to come off at all. Just because I think people are so used to the ruckus environment that's created when they do everything in person in these, especially in recent years, when they've had hundreds of thousands of people, the energy is just so crazy around it now that could you create a positive effect out of it? I think they captured that. Some of the things that y'all picked up in terms of those types of issues, I think are the things that we continue to need to cast a light on. So I appreciate y'all bringing that perspective to the table. As always, that's why Trust You Brothers always do that. All right, so now we're going to get to the grading, y'all. All right, the way it works here, I'm a college administrator, so we have to pay attention to these kinds of things during the day. We want to recognize those students who achieve academically. Usually they're on the dean's list, the honor roll. They get recognized with different kind of awards, because of the way in which they demonstrated a high level of excellence. And so we have people who are going to be in that kind of honor special. Then we have people who are solid and great students, making academic progress, are experiencing college the way we want them to do it. They've had some high performing semesters, but they're having incredible experiences, and they have great academic standing. Then you have some students who might be sliding a little bit. They might slide a little bit. And they might end up what we call academic probation. We're not going to oust them yet, but they slide. They totally go in the direction. They better go see an advisor, or they better get some kind of consultation before it gets worse so they can make it get better. And then we have them students who just went straight off the edge. And we usually say those students get dropped. We have to, but in most institutions, they got to sit out a year, because we think sometimes you just got to sit out a year. Maybe you got to work for a little bit. Maybe get that job at Target. Maybe eat some ramen noodles. Maybe you do something to just reflect on life and understand your sense of purpose of why you're doing this. And we certainly have some teams who probably need to be dropped. And so we're going to go through each of these grading areas, each of these levels, and figure out how we map this using this recent draft. And so we're going to kick off with, those folks that maybe you guys think should be given honors or that were on the dean's list, so to speak. So I'll start with you, Hampton. Who are those high performers, one or two teams you thought?
I would say definitely the Minnesota Vikings. One, the volume of picks. When you have that many volumes of picks, 16 picks, you can make mistakes. They hit a home run practically all their picks with Justin Jefferson, tremendous pick, replacing Stephen Diggs, and then Jeff Gladney replacing Trey Waynes. It really was a disappointment, especially being a local kid here from Kenosha. Ezra Cleveland was great value as well, the tackle spot. We talked about KJ Osborne. He's going to ball. He's hungry. And I really liked the Nate Stanley pick late in there. Nate Stanley is a big guy. I think, unfortunately, just for ends is, stale as far as coach goes. I think that with that offense with Kubiak, and he's going to be a good value pick as far as a big, strong guy that can deliver the rock if, Kirk Cousins goes down. So I like their draft. I also like the Ravens draft, too, as well. Patrick Queen can ball. Tremendous as far as LSU and a little small, but he can ball. And J.J. Dobbins was a steal at second round. I know he slipped because of his people didn't like his pass catching ability, but I think again, I think that J.K. found the right place. He and Ingram gonna be a nice combination, and someone like Devin DeVore, wide receiver is gonna be tight, and Rick Harrison. I mean, they just hit again. Harbaugh and DeCosta really hit home runs on that. So those are two who I think really they helped Lamar out. And I think the Vikings are really going to be, especially at the Packers draft. I think they're right now the favorite for the North.
Yeah, I think two good teams, and I would add even on I had the Ravens as my team, and I'll add on to yours that even after you get past the picks they had in that first 100, you think about what they did in the second half of their draft, and getting Bredesen, who is first team All Big Ten, third team All American at line. So they really secured the line with him and Tyree Phillips. And then Broderick Washington. I mean, one of the scouts described him as someone who plays with a level of violence that translates to the league. So they find these guys who continue to kind of push things out a little bit. And then Geno Stone, I think this is a kid at Iowa, and Iowa's sneakily becoming like this defensive back factory. That's why I always say, like, when you think about why is Iowa like 8-4? Why are they, they got talent coming out, and you just described with Stanley,
It's coaching, period.
I mean, but this is a guy that everybody gives will translate to the league and everything else. And I don't want to be, but you got a guy like Geno Stone, all he does is get interceptions. Like, all he does is ball hawk. All he does is come up on the run. And they got him at 219 in that draft. So I just think DeCosta, I see why Harbaugh was excited running around. I hate to say it for a team that's in the division of my favorite team, but I do. I think the Ravens went up. So I just want to add to your thoughts on the Ravens. And I think Minnesota is interesting. I think Minnesota had a top draft. My biggest question with Minnesota is whether or not the coach will open up the store and let them play with all the candy. Will they play at the high speed? Like they got a team that is supposed to be driving like a Ferrari, but he likes to drive that thing like a Yugo. So I think that's the only problem. Like, you got all these high-end athletes, all this, you can put points up, you can push, and they play so conservatively. I think
the Kubiak hire is going to address that, D. Wills. I think you don't hire Gary Kubiak to run a vanilla offense. So
yeah.
I mean, if they had put someone else in that OC role, I'd be concerned. But Kubiak, getting back in the game, they're gonna have an innovative offense and ball out.
And that's what you hope. He'll just, because he trusts Kubiak, who's had head coaching experience, to won a Super Bowl, to be able to run it. If he does it, then that draft is going to look even better if they let Kubiak do it fully what he can do. Darnell, who you got on the honor roll? Who you have on the D's list?
There's a few teams I could put on the Dean's list, but the one team I'm going to go with Baltimore. They saw what happened to them in their playoff game against Tennessee, and they said that's not going to happen again. they really sought after their weaknesses and improved them, and I think it's going to pay off very well for them. They got Patrick Queen, and they had Patrick Queen, and they had Malik Harrison also on the inside, and you have an older back with Mark Ingram, so if he to take some pressure off of him, they got J.K. Dobbins. So I think they had a very good draft, and that they have to be on the honor roll for me.
Yeah, I got a team that you did talk about. It's going to be sneakily on the honor roll that would probably make Hank go crazy. But I thought the Lions did really well, given that, we want to criticize. I thought they had a great draft. You think about Okudah, but I think also getting DeAndre Swift. I think their running game is, important. Having a Pro Bowl level quarterback, but having a real dominant running game really added to that depth in that defense, in their running back, in their backfield. And then Okura, I think from Notre Dame, as well as getting Jonah Jackson. I think, you got some folks who you can add into your lineup and give you value right away. But I think it even goes deeper than that, with them in terms of the work that they did is that they continue to add to the offensive line to build. They got, Stenberg there as well. And then they got Quintez Cephas, who I think is going to be a sneaky pick. I think this is a guy with a good quarterback. He's the kind of guy that can move the change. He reminds me, in my mind, like of could be like a Chris Carter type in the sense that he's going to catch everything around his catch radius. He's going to battle. He's going to fight. He's going to block. He's going to do all these different things. You might say too slow. You might say this or this, whatever, but he's just going to make plays. And I think that they really did a good job. Now, are their ability to do something with him? That's going to be another question. That's a whole nother thing. But I thought in terms of what they needed to add value to their team right now and what they needed to do to kind of bring guys in also who bring winning spirit, because part of also building a culture is bring guys who bring that lunch pail. They got a lot of lunch pail guys too, guys who play and who can fight. And so I think they did a really good job. How does that translate to wins? For them is another thing. But right now we're just grading the draft. All right.
Well, I got to speak one thing. I got to speak for Hank because I think Hank would probably weigh in and disagree. But, I like the Akua pick, but the Swift pick I thought was questionable because you got Kerryon Johnson there. You're only going to be able to run so many balls. So, and also they didn't deal.
Not in this league, not in this NFL. I think having two backs like that in this NFL is perfect. And two guys who can actually make it happen is not a bad thing at all, especially with injuries. Karen had some share of injuries as well. So you got to have depth as well at running back and be able to do it, particularly if you want to get Matt Stafford to not, sometimes Matt will get loose with the ball, but you can do some of that with having a dominant running game. So I think, yes, I love Kerryon, but I think you need a 1-2 punch in an NFL. And I think adding somebody like Swift who could take it to the house, who can make it work, who's got that, again, championship work ethic. That's a value-added piece. Also to push Kerryon. Sometimes you need to push somebody. Like, this ain't yours. Like, nobody's got anything locked in here. You can be second.
Yeah, but they have bigger needs at linebacker. I think really they're going to – you got to be – the second line is key. If that second line defense is raggedy, as we say, it's going to break loose on you. If you get past that first level. What's good about it is,
you got a Kuda, you got somebody who can also come up on a run. So even have someone who can help set your edge. But then when you talk about someone like Julian, coming from a really good defensive system at Notre Dame, knows how to play. So you got a linebacker in there who can.
But I think he's more a DN though. I think he's more of a DN. I don't see him as a pure. They need a pure linebacker to go side to side, middle linebacker, inside linebacker, and be able to cover the field. That's a big weakness. That was a big weakness on defense last year. They didn't address that, D-Will. So I think
but also on defense, if you can play with your front four, that makes your linebackers look good as well. It depends on what you're doing scheme wise. And so looking at who you have right now, if you got a line that can gobble things up, that makes your linebackers look good. So a lot of it comes down to if Patricia is the kind of defensive mind he think he is, he got enough to work with.
He's not.
Well, I'm just saying, I ain't talking about the execution. I'm talking about you got some pieces here to work with. I think are really good for a team they got right now. And the thing about it is you look at the team, how many leads did they have that they gave up? It wasn't like they was playing terrible. They had leads going to the fourth quarter. They lost 3 or 4
defense,
fourth quarter leads.
You prove my point exactly.
I also think it was balance of defense, but I also think it was an offense that time of possession. Like you got to have both work. But I think he got some play. When you got a shutdown corner, you think that you're gonna have.
Oh, I'm not talking about a Kua pick was a good pick.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
when you have a shutdown corner, that means you can defend differently.
Swift pick was a luxury pick. I think
you can
they don't have
to the box.
They drafted like they got 2 years left in the contract. The time is now. They don't win next year, they're done. So
I think this is gonna be a good draft for them. I think they got a good draft.
We'll see. I think it's an average draft for him. That's what I think.
Nah, I do. I give him much more. We are buffering this because we don't trust the coach. I had to eliminate that from him.
And that's why you needed to hit on the knees.
I'm giving you what I'm
talking about. Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick can deal with luxuries. Matt Patricia needs the necessities.
I thought they did well with it, man.
Matt Patricia needs peanut butter and jelly. Belichick needs caviar. Because that's how they roll. So
I thought they did. I think when you look at where they're gonna come out on, they are you can tell what he's telling you right now. You got the kid from Utah who's really good at defense. He said, if I can control the front, I got what I need. And I agree with him. So whether he can execute that, that's not the question of the day. We ain't asking about what's like. All these guys can be judged.
He can better execute it though with the
guys,
right,
we
with the right,
like
with
3
the
or
right
4
talent.
years. All these guys we can judge in 3 or 4 years. But
no, for him it's next year.
You need
he's not for long.
As Jim Finks once said, you got to control both sides of the line scrimmage first.
Yeah, and Bob Quinn ain't Jim Finks.
Well, he's trying to figure out. He must have got Jim Finks' playbook because that's how he drafted. So I'll tell you that. And when you got a Pro Bowl quarterback, that's how you do it.
Who's got a back issue?
Well, he better go get you another one. But if he can stand upright, the best way things stand upright is hand that ball off to somebody like Swift and let him take some of that beating off you. If you want to stand upright, that's how you do it. You hand off. You get you a couple running backs you can hand that ball off to every once in a while. Throw it to him out the backfield so you keep him going and keep him drives alive. Understand it. And he thinks his tight end is going to be a year better, probably a Pro Bowl level tight end by the time he's done. So you got a security blanket there. My running game going better. He's going to block better. You put all the pieces together. I thought they did a good job. Now, will they execute it? I'm saying this as somebody who grew up early as a Lions fan. I can't, man. I can't say that to you after that. I'll let it go. All right. The debate has already started, but it's my list at the end of the day. All right. Academic standing. Folks who had good academic standing. Who do you have? Like solid draft pick. You thought they did a solid job. I'm gonna start with you, Darnell. Who you think did a solid job?
Man, well, if we're looking at solid, I have to go with the New York Football Giants because
oh my goodness, a Gettleman supporter.
Oh my God, yes, because he's building something in New York, man. I see his vision.
Here comes the debate.
I see the vision. I really do, man. I love the Andrew Thomas pick. Getting support for Daniel Jones, getting support for Saquon Barkley. I really like the Xavier McKinney pick. He's a thumper back there in the defensive backfield. I like the Darnay Holmes pick. He could play in the slot. He could play outside. He could do a few things at the cornerback spot. I like a lot of things that they do. And I think if you're looking at the word solid, I got to go with New York. But there's a lot of teams that had a good draft, I think, in my opinion. But we got to see.
Hey, man, Gettleman's doing it his way. I'm going to call him, he is.
The losing way. That's what he's doing. The losing way. You'll take the fourth best tackle at number 4.
The fourth best tackle?
Yeah, the fourth best tackle. We're not talking about how they played on Saturdays. We're talking about how they don't play on Sundays.
Do you watch football?
Yeah, I do watch football. And I tell you, Tristan Wirtz,
college football.
Dedrick Wills, I would take them over.
He only allowed 4 sacks in 4
Andrew
years.
Thomas. I'm sorry. Andrew Thomas did not have the measurables.
Only allowed 25
measurables. It does not have the measurables to be at number 4. That's one of the worst picks of the first round by far.
I think you're crazy.
Well, you can think I'm crazy or not. We'll see. And all I'm saying, when Tristan Wirtz is doing it for Tampa Bay, we'll see. You're gonna be like, Carl was right.
Nah, okay.
Tristan Wirtz.
You can't really. The Wirtz one, you can't.
Has so much upside.
But the Wirtz one, you can't judge because he has Brady, who's gonna get rid of the ball. So everybody gonna look good at the offensive line playing in front of Brady because Brady gonna get rid of that ball. He gonna have to block. So you're gonna have to calibrate when you do your evaluation of whoever's blocking for Brady. Because he's going to get rid of the ball. He's just not going to get sacked that much versus you playing in front of a young quarterback. Because some of those sacks can be caused not by you as a lineman, could be caused by the fact your quarterback holding the ball, doing decisions. You can't hold a lineman that long in the NFL. So you're going to have to calibrate for a quarterback play when y'all trying to evaluate these linemen. I'm not telling you who's right or wrong, but make sure you calibrate making that judgment.
And I like the McKinney pick. Like I said, I think they had decent, but I think they blew that first pick. I really do. You could have gotten Andrew Thomas in the middle part of the first round. And like I said, you're right. He played well on Saturdays. We're talking about Sundays, Thursdays, Mondays, brother Darnell. We're not talking about Saturdays. and Wednesdays.
I'm looking at football players. I'm not looking at the underwear Olympics called the combine.
Well, again, Jason White was a football player. He got cut. I mean, you can't go. They have. You talk about athleticism as well. He does not have the athleticism of a Tristan Wirfs. I mean, they are going to regret that pick. When Gelman's sitting at home a year from now, when Gelman's sitting at home, because Gelman, I mean, you got Nate Solder, and he's been a failure. Yeah, but you gonna go get. Well, you gonna play Andrew Thomas on the right side? You gonna play Andrew Thomas?
Andrew Thomas can play either side. He played both.
I know he can play either side, but Tristan Wirfs can play either side.
He might start out with Solder. There, he might start out playing the right side and then move to the left in the next after retirement.
Well, I mean, Darnell, he should be. If Darnell's right, Solder shouldn't be at all. I mean, if he's
they might move him to the right tackle. You don't know how they're gonna do it. But
if they do move him to right tackle, it's a failed pick too. He should be able to be. He can't be out Nate Solder. Then he's definitely not the fourth pick in the draft. Prove my point exactly. The fact we're even talking about him going to right tackle tells me that he's not worth the fourth pick in the draft. I know Tristan Wirfs would be the left tackle week 1 for the New York Giants. I can
Tristan Wirfs even played on that tackle last year.
What is it now?
Tristan Wirfs play right tackle?
He played both. He played right
both.
Tackle.
Just like Andrew Thomas plays both.
Again.
All right. Enough. All right, we gonna hold off. So you have to say. So let me see what you got as solid now. Since you got enough to say, what you got going on?
I got solid. I got the Rams, and the Rams did a solid job. I mean, they replaced Gurley with Cam Akers. You know, Van Jefferson's going to be a nice pick as well. I think they had a solid draft as far as it goes. Players who could plug and play, but nothing spectacular. Terrell Burgess is a good player. Their last pick, Tremaine Akram, is going to be, I think, a good developmental player. So it was a solid draft, nothing spectacular. So it was a disappointing draft, I think, if you're a Rams fan, because they didn't hit home runs. They hit singles, so that's where I think they were solid.
Yeah, I had a couple of teams that I highlighted here real quickly. I think the Cleveland Browns felt like there's some grown-ups sitting at the table this year a little bit with them continuing to push forward. Hopefully that shows up on Sundays with folks doing the right thing. But having Willis from Alabama, again, they got one of their top linemen. If you got a quarterback you really trust, you got to continue to protect him and make sure you got some folks involved. I think Delp is a great player from LSU. They need to continue to add pieces to that defense, continue to make that the feature of their team playing up there in Cleveland, as well as Elliott at defensive tackle, and then getting Phillips at linebacker. So I think continue to develop. And then sneakily late, I mean, he got drafted later than he should have. Donovan Peoples-Jones, who did well, in the combines and had a really good combine. I don't think he was featured very well at Michigan. I think he has more upside as well there. And I think he just will add more to that receiving core, particularly when they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do, with the future of their receiving core, given some of the discussions we're probably hearing here lately with Cleveland as well. But it's someone who could add depth as well. So I thought Cleveland had a really good, solid pick, building depth. Their biggest issue is going to be managing the locker room, not being so up and down and really getting the right people. But I think they got young people who come in who know how to win, which I think is really value added for them. And I'll say the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys, I love the Lamb pickup. I think Lamb is going to be incredible for them. Just it's a great route runner. Someone who's going to have really good chemistry, I think, with Prescott as well. I like the fact that they got Diggs as well. And then they replaced their Fredericks with another Wisconsin lineman.
Yep.
So, they got another center.
Trade up for him.
They trade up for him. Yeah. And so, I think I thought they had a really good, solid pick. I think a lot for McCarthy to work with in this group, a good balance between offensive help and defensive help. All right, we're going to move into some stuff where we got questions. I think we got some arguments come up here. Folks are on probation. You're shaky. It's like one bad semester could be bad for you. It's the GMs that probably, can't afford a bad season. They can't afford to slip up. Even though they're working at physical distancing, they need to make this close. Everybody need to be connected so we can get it. But this draft may be putting them on shaky ground. We might be talking about them sometime in, late December.
Yeah, Black Monday.
Yeah, Black Monday. So we don't do that. So who would y'all have on probation that y'all want to talk about?
Green Bay Packers, no doubt. Worst draft by far. I mean, let's start with the first pick. They did the young man disservice. That man is 2-3 years away. You had 13-win team, obviously a soft 13-win team, but they just caused a hot mess in Green Bay. And when they actually believe no receivers in the draft, none, no receivers. Now, I'm not talking about tight end. I'm talking about pure receivers. That's a disgrace. And so if I'm a season ticket holder and as well as a stack holder for the Packers, I'm calling for LaFleur and Murphy and all the Gutekunst, all them to go. I mean, and then like I said, the A.J. Dillon pick was another kind of luxury pick. You already got Williams. You already got Aaron Jones is a beast. You gonna bring in Dillon when you need a receiver? All receivers are on the board that time. As far as the kid from Cincinnati, that was a good pick. I like that pick. But again, Runyon's kid, I question him because he had the nerve to decline the call that came to the crib. So I wonder about him. He's not his daddy for sure. But the Packers, like I said, did not address any of their weaknesses. They drafted like they are not in the not for long league, but that they have lifetime contracts and they don't. So I just don't understand. I mean, people are trying to say they're trying to change their way to the San Francisco way. No. All you need to do last year was get a couple receivers with Devontae Adams, and you could have balled out. But you're gonna try to be slick and smart like Ryan Pace, and we're gonna take Jordan Love. It's phenomenal. The dude had 17 interceptions at Utah State last year. Now I know they all give all these excuses. His coach left for Texas Tech. His line left. No, if you're a baller, you're gonna ball. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins had raggy quarterbacks throwing to him. He balled out. I mean, that's the type of thing that you do. If you're a baller, you're a baller. I don't care who you're around. And so the main thing about Jordan Love is that I would love to see Jordan Love with the Patriots or something like that as a developmental pick, but to put him in Green Bay is just a disservice to the young man and feel bad for the young man. And I mean, what's the difference between him and Deshaun Kaiser? Come on, not that much. Deshaun Kaiser, I would say, was a better top-end prospect than Jordan Love. So no, it's a terrible draft, and I'm glad. It helped my Bears, and again, even though I think the Bears didn't have the greatest draft in the world, a good draft, but yeah, I think they had the worst draft, and especially being the publicly owned team, they really let their fans down, and fans I know are very upset. They're just like perplexed.
Yeah,
they thought Ryan Pace was running the draft room.
When I look at Green Bay, I'm less worried about the second half. The second half of their draft I actually like. I'm a fan of A.J. Dillon. I mean, I don't care what people are saying. I think you might be making a case maybe Green Bay probably should take it, but A.J. being picked in that area, I'm a fan of A.J. I love A.J. Dillon. I watch him. That's a man-child and would work really well in bad weather. And, I mean, playing at Boston, that guy carries the rock. He's a workhorse.
He's a luxury. Like I said again, luxury. Green Bay needs a receiver, bro.
Part of what I think LaFleur is probably doing is part of the way of controlling some of Rodgers' instinctive plays, having a good running game. And he's probably not happy with the running backs he got for some reason. But A.J. Dillon is a player. So I'm
a luxury. I didn't say he was a bad player.
It's never a luxury when you just at running back. I'm saying in this day and age, that's never a luxury. When you pick him, I think we can all debate that. I think right. I think
he's a third rounder too. I
think makes that pick tough. What makes that pick tough? That's not a bad pick. What makes that pick tough is debate on Love. And I'm not even against them taking a quarterback. I think I'm against them taking a quarterback at that point. So I'm saying even if they could get Love, they could have got Love later. On that pick, they probably need to take the best receiver available. So I will give you that. I'm not against them.
T. Higgins should have been the pick, no question.
I'm not against taking a quarterback. I'm just not. I mean, I think you gotta when you find your quarterback, get that quarterback plan for the future. If you want to be able to transition the right way. So I'm not against that. Sometimes people just gonna have to have a little thicker skin in that. I'm against picking a quarterback at that point because I think you're right. At that point, they need a receiver. At that point, they need to find the best receiver available. And I think if they would have got a receiver at that point and got a quarterback later, you probably wouldn't have had even this debate at all. I think at that point, everybody in their mind was like, oh, my goodness, we can get a great receiver for him. That was what was in their mind. And
at their regular position at 30. They could have gotten T. Higgins.
They could have had a great receiver. So
would have been perfect for him.
Yeah. So I'm agreeing with you on that. Adams. Yeah. I mean, and even if they would have got someone like Eason or somebody later in the draft to come in as a young quarterback, I don't think people would have had as much of a problem with that had they gone with a receiver at this pick. Their draft would have looked totally different. So I can see I'm understanding and why they're sitting at this one. I agree with you. It's shaky. They're going to have to prove themselves because they still in probation themselves. All of them. The coach is on probation. The one thing about the only person in this equation, even though Aaron can probably be a pain for some people there, he is one with the ring in that group. So I think the problem that they got right now is none of them got credibility right now. And so
and lost credibility.
All on probation. They still on probation. They all got to get in. All right, Darnell, who's on probation?
I'm probably going to have to go with the Packers as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Preach, bro. Preach.
They really had to address that wide receiver spot because Aaron Rodgers, he needs some more help. Well, he has Devontae Adams, which is an excellent player, but he can't do it by himself. He needs another option to go to, and I think they just neglected the opportunity to add value to that spot. So
we agree totally, bro. Now we back on. We back solid, bro. We forget about the Andrew Thomas, Tristan Wirfs thing because you telling me Alan Lazard. You trying to sell Alan Lazard as your second receiver on your team? A guy who was passed over in the draft, not even looked at in the draft. Come on.
I mean,
don't insult us. Don't insult our intelligence.
Jones would have been Donovan Peoples-Jones, he lasted all the way to the 6th round. So
they should have picked him at least. It was their picks. I agree.
KJ Hill went to the 7th round. They could have got somebody.
Yeah, KJ Osborne would have been great there.
Yeah.
But you telling me that you're satisfied with your receivers? Marcus Scantling and Kumaro? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Again, they insult our intelligence. Those cats cannot separate from the line of scrimmage, except for Devontae Adams. Period. And your tight end is not Stenberger is not that great. The Cincinnati kid looks good, but you don't know. But you trying to tell me Alan Lazard is a number 2 receiver in the NFL? In the XFL, yeah. Not the NFL. I mean, it's a joke, man. But I'll be glad to beat the Packers twice this year. Hey. Love it.
And the team, I have to say, Patriots, underwhelming draft. I mean, and the thing that got me, in your 5th round, there's still a lot of quality players on there, and you take a punt. Now, look, I play fantasy sports, and there's some strategy in fantasy. There's guys who will go an entire fantasy draft and not take a kicker. And they'll say, I'll just figure out what I can do after I evaluate my team and who I'm going to drop, and then I go pick up a kicker. I just feel like when I look at the Patriots stuff, given coming off Brady leaving, they got some good, decent players, but nothing that just wows me with all the talent that was there late. There's a lot of talent that's there late, and you can't justify taking a punter when you got that much talent on the board in the 5th round.
That's another team that loves to outthink the room.
Yes, outthinking the
room. Their very
first
pick was Kyle Duggar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody, nothing else. And this kid might be a great player, but it's Division II.
Belichick gonna be exposed. Belichick gonna be exposed this year.
It's just people. I'm watching people giving grades. This is the first person. This one guy gave him an incomplete on day one. He didn't give him a grade. He gave him an incomplete. on day one.
Because they trade out of their first round spot.
They didn't pick day one.
I know,
but they trade out of their first round spot.
But part of that, so you're incomplete on day one, and then the rest of the draft, you just reach.
Yeah. Belichick, I mean, I don't know if Kassar.
I mean, this might be Ray Guy. This might be Ray Guy. We don't know that. And
well, he's a kicker, not a punter. He's a kicker.
He's a kicker.
Yeah,
he's a kicker.
Yeah.
Well, he's a kicker. Whatever he's gonna need, he needs something. He must be Ray Guy. He got to be something. What's he gonna do for you? Like, this is a guy you
lose. I
mean, all I saw was K, and I'm thinking that is not what you need.
Hey, I got a secret for you.
What?
The New England Patriots, they are tanking. They're trying to do
trying to get Trevor Lawrence. I've heard that rumor too.
Whichever one is available to them, they get it next year.
Well, this draft look like you're trying to tank. I'm just gonna say it's hard to put somebody like that as well. He's never been someone who ever got great grades on the draft. I don't think he just he believes in developing players. But we're gonna see what he's gonna do with this. All right, who do you drop? Who do you drop? Who is that? And the team that I dropped, actually argued for, I had the Green Bay Packers on suspension. Yeah, I mean, y'all had them as on probation. I had them, they being dropped for a year because part of drafting is understanding the current personality that you have because you're building the team. You already know what Aaron Rodgers is about. You already know that. So you either wanted to stick something to him and didn't really care, what is that going to do for your chemistry in your locker room next year? Not a good thing. Like, just on that alone, I got to put you on suspension because all three of us, I didn't get to that point. All three of us have concluded, as well as a whole bunch of people, that this was, even if Jordan Love is good, it's still bad. That's the part. That's the only thing I can say about this. Even
can't play two quarterbacks.
You can't play two quarterbacks. You can't do it. So you've created tension that you don't need to create. For what reason?
That tells you what they think about Aaron Rodgers, though. They obviously do not. But one thing I misunderstood. You can't drop an NFL team. They're gonna play. So probation was my worst grade.
I say I dropped meaning you on muzzle. You can't talk. Whatever you say, you're not gonna be heard from.
The NFL team, they're gonna be able to talk. So
we dropping them. We drop as RSG dropping. We might
can't drop an NFL team, man. You can't drop an NFL team. You can drop an XFL team.
You are suspended. You are suspended. We might even talk about you for the next
probation.
Year.
They on probation.
I might forbid the fact that we are talking about you for the next year because we do drop people for a year. That means what I'm saying is I'm guaranteeing that if it don't work, you will be fired. They're gonna be fired. This is a fireable offense.
Yeah. Well, I misunderstood. Well, I misunderstood. I don't drop a team, but if you say drop, yeah, they should be.
This is a fireable offense.
They should be banned from the draft. That's what I was.
This is something that the owner should have stepped in and said, nah. The owner should have been like, nah, we can't do this.
Yeah, because social media, they were like, is Ryan Pace running the draft room? They were saying that. Is he running the draft room? Is Rick Spielman running the draft room? I mean, real talk. Is Bob Quinn running the draft room? They were thinking. We didn't see it. They were wondering if.
I thought they were hacked by the Russians. I thought the draft was officially hacked by the Russians.
No, they're arrogant. That's about them. They're arrogant.
On NFL draft.
LaFleur wants to run that Tennessee Titans type offense. He loves that, and he wants to have someone like Jordan Love. He wants to. A.J. Dillon's is Derrick Henry, and he thinks as far as not having the receivers. I mean, they're decent receivers at Titans. What you have, Davis, and you got
A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown, who's great. A.J. Brown's a nice player. But again, they want to smash mouth, and it just like I'm like, this is so arrogant of a draft, and
which makes sense because you're in Green Bay, Wisconsin. But I'm saying right now
that makes sense. Aaron Rodgers. No.
You got Aaron Rodgers, and whatever you're trying to do, you're going to have to hybrid for at least the next 2-3 years, at least 2 years.
I think he's gone. I think he's in Las Vegas in 2021, 2022.
He might be, But
I don't see that's going to be a hot mess because
as much as I
was telling people, is Jordan Love Cordell Stewart? I mean, that's the thing I understand. Was he Cordell Stewart? I mean,
he might be, but what I'm saying is, if you take Jordan Love out of this and maybe add and put somebody else in, they got a decent draft. But when you add a draft that messes with your best player and your locker room leader, when you don't have to, like when Aaron Rodgers got picked, as y'all argued before, you pick Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be
the first pick in the draft. Yeah.
So if he drops down to you can't let that go.
No, I saw that draft in DC. I saw the whole first round DC, and that was a no brainer. I mean, but
you just can't let him pass when he's a top 10 talent. But Jordan Love's not a top 10.
Trading up for Jordan Love
anywhere from first round to third round. With that much variability, I would have just waited.
The arrogant D. Will, so the arrogant.
That's a fireable offense, and if it's a fireable offense, then you got to be suspended. You got to take some time off. You got to go to the penalty box.
No, they have a feeling that Aaron's going to break his collarbone, and Jordan Love's going to come in and throw an interception to Kyle Fuller for the touchdown. That's what's going to happen. And Kyle Fuller's going to take it to the house.
I mean, Jordan Love is I feel sorry for him, like you said before. I mean, I just can't see it because he's walking into a
Eddie Jackson going to take it to the house on the brother,
and he doesn't necessarily walk into it. So
he can't walk and ground on in Green Bay. Period. He can't go to Avenue Bar. There'd be a riot. You ever been to Green Bay? Avenue Bar, you've been there, right? Stadium Bar.
I have to get there. I've been there yet.
Man, it's off the chain. They got a dance floor. They got all food. Once we get back where we can not be social distance, if he walked in Stadium Bar, there would be a riot right now. You got glasses, you got drink. There would be. They really need to pass an ordinance that he cannot show up in a public establishment because Mayor Gendrich, like I said. I feel bad for the brother. If that brother walked in the stadium, but there would be a riot. They would literally tear the place up. And if he came in there with LaFleur, definitely they would tear the place up.
Wow. So Darnell, did you have anybody that you thought was just a fireable or low or no? Did you have anybody on that drop?
The Green Bay Packers, because they were so nice, I had to pick them twice. No, I'm going to go with Bill O'Brien. Which honestly I should have had these switched because I really like Ross Blacklock. He's a really good defensive tackle. He's very smooth. He really knows how to use his hands and stuff like that. But the rest of the draft is very underwhelming, especially because of the trade they made for Laremy Tunsil. But really, this for me is the whole offseason. It's not just the draft because I think they all play together. And him trading DeAndre Hopkins is a fireable offense.
Yeah.
That's fireable.
And replacing him with Brandon Cooks is even more fireable offense.
It's like every move.
And then getting David Johnson. Are you kidding me? David Johnson
is worse.
Broken down David Johnson.
Just hurt me. I had to drop him.
This year was such a good running back class. So
could got your running back easy.
Got a good guy in the draft. Probably better than David Johnson.
Oh, definitely better than David. David Johnson's is right now made with glue. He's on this break apart. And the contract too. Give up this contract. I mean, I'm just like, wow. I mean, I know you don't like. I mean, I can see why you didn't like Hopkins too, because I was on the gram and saw Hopkins no mask on, riding a bike like remember Baby Boy Tyrese? He looked like Baby Boy Tyrese. That's probably too young for Darnell, but I swear he looked like Baby Boy. He was getting some fried chicken, like somewhere in the hood, and that's what I'm telling you. O'Brien just didn't like the dude, man. He wanted a bougie type cat. You can just tell it was personal, man, because when they talking about baby mamas, you heard about what Irvin said. They talking about baby mamas, that's personal. He's like, he probably has a disease. We need to get rid of him. Got too many baby mamas, you know.
We are gonna be talking about O'Brien. It's like he got pictures on somebody. He got pictures.
He has to. I mean, he got Rick Smith fired. He got Rick Smith fired. He got other GM fired. I mean, it's just crazy. After 1 year, he's doing these crazy picks, and the Lanier family is just like, go ahead, Bill. I mean, it's crazy, man. I mean, like I said, you cannot justify. I don't care how you at least get a first rounder for DeAndre Hopkins, man. We need a second rounder because we didn't have a second rounder. And the Larry Tunsil pick too much. That was too many draft picks. Larry Tunsil.
Too much. I like Larry Tunsil as a player.
I like him too.
Good for him, but he's
he stay out that bong, but I like him too. But yeah, again, the Packers were worse than that. But yeah, they should have been my they should have been my probation team. Excuse me. The Packers were my suspension team. You know, you can't suspend an NFL team. But again, I'll put you this way. They might need to suspend them for a year and shut down the operations. Because I mean, they are taking the fans' money. So yeah, you can Devon. And actually, they should shut down the operations for a year because they are incompetent. Like I said, I just have a feeling that Ryan Pace, Bob Quinn, as well as Spielman. They had cameras in there. I think they had their own feed in the Packers room. They're like, what should we pick for y'all? Oh, Jordan Love. He's phenomenal, you know. He's next Aaron Rodgers. You know. Let's take. And then what else do you take at number 2? Take AJ Dillon. He's gonna be, Aaron Jones is not that good. He was a one-hit wonder. You know, he's got a little character issues, so take him. And AJ's going to learn how to catch the ball. You know, he didn't catch the ball out in college, but he's going to be a great pass catcher in the NFL. He just didn't show it yet. You know, he just didn't show it yet. And don't take a receiver because Alan Lazard is a baller. He's DeAndre Hopkins. Just people don't know yet. Marcus Valdes-Scantling. Oh, he's like, again, Robert Woods, but people don't know that. They don't know that. He dropped balls because he got scared, but he's going to be ready to play next year because he can ball, Give me a break. Jay Kumro, not even drafted. Oh, he's a baller. He's the next Jordy Nelson. You just don't know it yet. You haven't seen the talent yet. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm not a fan. I felt bad for them because I'm just like, I'm on this draft. I'm like, this makes no sense. And people on trying to defend the Packers. Well, if you're such a draft expert, I'm like, nah, man. I mean, again, we're fans, but we got common sense. You're trying to sell Alan Lazard as being like Allen Robinson. Come on. I mean, come on.
This is why we graded y'all. The thing about it is we'll know more about these.
They're F- as far as grades.
Before we get out of here, I want to touch on some other teams I think had a good draft. I think Indianapolis, they had some very good picks in there. I think Denver Broncos, because they're in the arms race with Kansas City. If you're in that AFC West, it's gonna be tough for you dealing with Kansas City. But they really stocked up with KJ Hamler. They got Jerry Jeudy as well.
Yeah,
I think
2 receivers.
Set themselves up pretty well.
No, I like their draft. I mean, Indianapolis draft, the Taylor pick concerns me. I think
one really has something to do with Jonathan Taylor.
It concerns me, man. I mean, he's a fumbler. I'm sorry. A fumbler will always be a fumbler. And Marlon Mack can ball. And Himes is a good player. Don't sleep on Himes. Is a nice third down back. And Jordan Wilkins is really a nice third down back as well. So that's a luxury pick. We talk about A.J. Dillon. So and they traded up for him. So I was say a first round grade on him, but he better hold on to the football, or Chris Ballard gonna be like on the can't trust his list. So, but Pittman was a nice pick. I like Pittman. I like Julian Blackmon. Eason, I don't like the Eason pick at all. That really concerned. I mean, they're gonna put him in developmental and have him with. They're gonna get rid of Jacoby. So that was a pick I didn't understand. So no, I didn't like their draft per se. I thought their draft was all right. So.
Well, I mean, I think it says they got the tape on Jacoby, and I think they don't see him as the future quarterback, or they wouldn't have drafted, or they wouldn't have picked up you guy for the quarterback. So I'm thinking, Rivers coming in. I think they're like, look, Rivers is the guy we're gonna hit. Looking at Eason to come up maybe in 2 years. So that's what I was saying.
Rivers is trash, man. They have a relationship. Him and Frank Reich, they're gonna get him fired because Rivers.
I'm just not telling you
he's
what
not
you think.
mobile.
I'm telling you,
lost
that doesn't matter. But they believe he's a top quarterback. He's been a top quarterback for a while, which tells you then they think they can trade Jacoby for somebody who might need one. People have done that. And get something back, and then they got this young cat they're going to bring along. So from that standpoint, it makes sense with the rest of the things they did. Do I agree with it? That's not what I probably would have done, but I probably wouldn't even brought Rivers in. But
no, I wouldn't brought Rivers in either. Jacoby another. Why give him Why give him an extension? Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Why give him an extension after Andrew Luck did you dirty? Well, he didn't do dirty. Andrew Luck played recklessly, and he had to retire because he wants to walk at age 50. So. That's the thing. But you don't give a brother extension and talk about, well, we're going to go with Phil Rivers, who, man, Phil Rivers was on a 5-11 team last year. Are you serious? Drafted 6th in the draft, and who picked a quarterback, and who are you not better than Tyrod Taylor?
Yeah, I would say I think Jacksonville had a solid draft as well.
With KJ Henderson and they had a solid draft.
Yeah, they had a solid draft, and then they got a free agent pickup cat you're gonna hear about, James Robinson from Illinois State. The kid was one of the top running backs in the country. Coming to high school out of Rockford, went and played hell of a running back. He's a free agent acquisition for them that is going to give them even more depth for them as well. So they, I think, that's all going to come down, how Minshew plays, being a leader that they're putting, Gardner, they're putting the investment in him. But, I think
they should have gotten Jameis, man. I'm stunned Jameis went to the Saints.
I'm stunned he went to the Saints, but that says a lot about, he probably saw, as an opportunity for him to just be around a winning situation. Sometimes it's that. And that says a lot about him because he could have taken it, kind of
more money. Yeah, he had more money on the table, but he's thinking long game. He's done his money right. He had 5 years. His money should be straight. And, but I just think, he threw 30 interceptions. He threw 30 touchdowns. He had 5,000 yards. Yeah. Jameis just needed a little bit, like I said. He did the LASIK. So I would have tried to go. I would have gone to Jackson.
Maybe just about let me get with the right folks, good habits. I get with Peyton. I get good habits. Drew Brees, getting a good quarterback room. Sometimes you got to regroup to come back.
He might play too because Brees might get hurt again. But but I just. Yeah, man. Like I said, I was surprised, and they're paying him peanuts. They're paying better minimum. They have to be with the cap situation. So
he did that. He did that for himself. And again, in a time when Cass might be chasing the money, he said, "Look, this is a short-term plan for me to reset." And so, hey, you can't.
That's a long way from Heisman and national championship. But again, he got humbled. But
Bridgewater had a choice.
Like Stephen A. Smith said, he's the best. He's defensive player of the year. So, I guess defensive player of the year. So, which is foul for Stephen A. to say that. But hey, 30 interceptions. That's crazy, man. I just like wow.
Well, my man Hank isn't here, and so at this time, I guess I'm going to drop the mic for us a little bit because Hank is in the building, and sometimes, as we say, we give it to maybe the elder spokesman in the room, and so I'm going to take that. Today we found out that even though we've had most of the governors have had their stay-at-home orders out, folks have been storming the beach in California like it was Normandy. Folks out there, you got pictures of people running around with the kids and everything else, because the heat wave is up. And I think this is a lesson for us to just be patient. Brighter days are coming. And there are times when we just got to take a step back and be patient and wait for the right things to allow for all of us to lead a good life. And we can't just use what might be our gut instincts to do or fall on those things that we just want to do because I feel like I need to do. Sometimes, or I want to do it. Sometimes you need to do things that you just need to do rather than what you want to do. And this is one of those scenarios. If you are one of those folks on the beach out there, if you are one of those people running around with your kids at a time when we're reaching record numbers in terms of deaths as a pandemic, you need to rethink that. Think about the people in your family who you are putting at risk. We have a lot of people putting a lot of hours in trying to save lives. It's our responsibility to do whatever we can to make their jobs easier. And the one thing we can do is by waiting for the all clear from them, from the people on the ground, from our scientists who are doing the work. All these people talking about protesting and going into Capitol buildings and showing up at the governor's house or whatever. Next time you do it, think about those nurses and those doctors who are putting all these hours in trying to save people who are 2 degrees of separation from you, who are trying to prevent, who had to serve as that surrogate family member because the family member couldn't be there. Think about those folks next time you think you want to go on the beach and roll around like nothing's wrong. Until then, we love you all. Stay safe. To all those people on the front lines doing what they do, keep doing it. Keep being there. We are all here. We're going to try and support you in all the ways we can. And one way we're going to do is by staying at home. RSG.
This thing right here is for my peoples in the streets.
Yes, today.
Blog Talk Radio.
This show, this one mic.